my god, I didn't realise I looked this bad. Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video. To Sunny and Rise video. I have got up on. I kind of got burnt today, so my face is red, my body's red, and everything's a sore. So I wear like a little top just to keep myself cool. Cause look, and look at this. Look, I walk a lot. Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh my god, but yeah. Anyway, before we get to the video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell to get us when I post, and let's go on.
Hello guys! What up? Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
We thought we would have a chat. We finished the last podcast. We chatted about, some sort of advice we could give, if we could give any, for other influencers,
Yes.
or if they want to start out. And then we said today we talk more along the lines of advice for fans, or like fan bases. So
Yeah.
where did you touch on that?
I think it's a really interesting topic, man. I think it's something that's not spoken about
I think
enough.
it's a very broad topic.
It
It
as well.
is, yeah, it's definitely broad. You can go so many places with this one. But I do think just as much as influencers have responsibilities. You're right, bro. Don't dribble.
No, I forgot how to do it too.
You gotta put it in your mouth. That'd be useful. But I feel like influencers and people like that, they have responsibilities.
Yeah.
But so do the public, and I think they don't realise the knock-on effects of their. Even if it starts off as just an original thought or controversy or idea or something, they don't realise the ripple effects within a fandom.
They don't.
And how that can really become a solid force. Now, again, that's quite broad. It's like, what are you getting at, Ryan, Sunny, Four Eyes, and the Skyscraper?
I can't believe they
But
named
what we're getting
it.
at is, what we're getting at is, never feel sorry for influencers or people like that. If they screw up and they're getting hate, you screwed up and you're getting hate. If you're not good enough and you're getting hate, you're not good enough and you're getting hate. Get
You'll get
over
hate
it.
for
there, boy.
No, I'm saying, but there is a time when, I think especially in times of boredom, where if nothing's happened with your brand for a while, fans start to pick on you a little bit.
And
Or
they
they
Yeah,
start
I
to pick
pick on
on
you all the time, mate.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
and amongst
I'm very
each other,
nice.
and start creating divides in the fan base even. And that's where, to me, as a fan of anything, no matter what it is, the same way if you're a fan of chocolate, right?
What
You
flavour
love
though?
chocolate.
I really like
You
milk
still need to
chocolate.
treat that chocolate with moderation, certain expectation, understand it's got some flaws, and not get too
I
sickly
don't like
on
milk
it.
chocolate. That's it.
Yeah.
You end up
Not other
vomiting,
chocolates.
or
Other chocolates
you
are
end up
disqualified.
out of the kind of physical shape you want to be in.
Don't eat too much of it.
Exactly. You got a chocolate moderation, and sweets and things like that. With fan bases, it's the same thing. I think you need to be careful how much you are
Let it
immersed.
consume you.
Yeah, you're immersed in that influencer or in that fandom. Be careful how much that consumes you.
Or even a situation that's happened.
Yeah,
In that fandom.
because again, we're still being vague. We're speaking like up here at the moment. It's like, woo, we need to get like.
Okay. For me, yeah. If we're not being vague, for me, it's when someone gets like really, which is fine to be emotionally involved in things. I think that's
Definitely, you need it in life.
Yeah, you need it in life.
Yes, we do need
But
it.
when
in
some
there.
people get so emotionally involved, and then there's some sort of difference of opinion within the fandom, and then you start being nasty to that other person.
Damn, that's not the way
debate
you
then.
go.
And that kind of defeats, at least from our purpose, the whole point of a fandom anyway. The idea is to bring people
Yes,
together.
that is how you do it.
People in a
Because,
common interest. Right?
Yeah, and sometimes there'll be a divide,
Mhm.
and there just will be. And sometimes those divides are
But
healthy.
that's okay.
Mhm.
Like it's okay to not agree on everything. You don't have to like.
It's
start
when,
pointing fingers.
it's when the divides think that like everything they think or say is the right thing,
Mhm.
and it becomes
Oh,
like
so
a more political debate then, doesn't it? About an influencer or about each other as a fan
I'm gonna
base.
start
And
having
here's
teas
why I
now,
think this is
every
important for us to
Wednesday and
acknowledge and to
Saturday
speak on.
while
And we
they're
really want to
acting,
see your guys'
because I
response to
feel
this. So
out of
the
it.
comments are going to be interesting. Make them interesting, guys. Let's hear your thoughts on it. But I like that we're getting closer. Feels like it's getting more serious.
I've got one.
Tense, right?
My beard's itchy, man. It's so annoying. But there is definitely, in an influencer's career or lifetime, there's a whole load of opportunities to attack
Yes.
them for something they've done wrong, minor mistakes or whatever. I think there's some lines of appreciation, and I'm not saying this for our own benefit. I really don't mind. Like, people can do whatever they want as long as they're happy.
That should be
But
what it should be.
there are times you can exploit an influencer for doing something wrong, and you can really attack them and kind of bully them as a people, where you wouldn't if it was matey boy next door has probably done the same thing. He doesn't have a following, he doesn't shout out. An influencer has a duty to its
I
fan
feel bad for
fan
some
base, or to their
influencers.
fan base, to
Like,
be
some fans can
vulnerable
be
and exposed
utterly
and give away,
horrible.
you know, all their cards really.
Like,
And
very
you accept that the
horrible.
private life is something you don't really get to choose upon. You're inviting people in, expect them to come in. Don't be pathetic about it. And I think because they've put themselves to the firing line, as a fan base or as an audience, you have every right to voice your opinion on them. But I think there's a line between voicing your opinion on them and making sure that they acknowledge, you know, their mistakes or whatever. There's also a line where it becomes attacking and it becomes
Yeah.
quite vicious. People can get seriously hurt from this stuff. There's a lot of mental illness that gets involved at this level for influencers as well as fan bases. There's a lot of nasty ways to deal with things. And I think, you know, someone like Justin Bieber, some of the stuff that he did and got vilified for a long period of time. I've done a lot of those things. And they're very mild things, like in the grand scheme of things. Not all of them, but some of the things I know I've done at some point.
Honestly.
As like
Yeah.
most people have. Most people that kind of push the boundary a little bit, are a little bit naughty here and there.
We've all done
All
the
have
same
done something
thing. It's
wrong.
just people just
And
get
no one
mad
else
hate.
gives a flying shit because here's someone else, it's their parents' problem or whatever.
Yeah.
But when Justin Bieber did or when an influencer did, it becomes the world's
Yeah.
problem. It's like the example of young people has just gone down or something's taken a hit, so the world feels like it needs to fight back to push it back
true.
up. Really, it's not the case. I think by exploiting them, making them these big things, you aid the brandability of those things. And once they become brandable, they become acceptable. And that stems from an audience's responsibility. And people gave like Logan Paul and Jake Paul notoriety
Yeah,
for
but
doing some crazy videos. You as an audience
Yeah, but
gave
the
them the
thing is-
permission to take those further and expect more each time.
Because like Jake
And the fact that they ended up
like,
screwing themselves
filmed some
over
horrible stuff.
and did a multitude of stupid things. Obviously, the forest and some other things are just inexcusable. That is the influencer's complete fault. But there's
then
things
that's different. Then
that
people have
that
the
is
right to
different.
call
That's
people
that's
out.
their line. That's the influencer line. We've got a line as well. We like influencers have a line as well to be responsible for. But
Influencers, I don't know.
there are
that.
things
I'm joking, I did.
where you being controversial, fighting against and voicing your opinion so strongly on this person pushing the boundary has only aided their motivation to keep pushing it because you're giving them the attention and you're giving them everything. You're giving us everything.
Giving them the
you
vibe
want.
that they want.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's just a sad fact. It helps pretty much every influencer at some point. It's where that responsibility then goes for the influencer
once
is
someone says
subject, I think, the
something,
larger
everyone
part
says
to a
it,
fan
and it
base's
just builds
responsibility
and
as a
builds
whole.
and builds
So I think
and
it's
builds.
important as a fan base and as individuals to keep rain check on each other and how much you're actually giving to this person and what kind of person they are and what kind of values they hold. Because there's a lot of pricks out there who maybe look good or sing well,
they are.
but they're pricks. In my eyes, they should be dealt with.
I was going to say,
like
I
prick.
think it swings the other way around as well. It's you know how you say some people that are you know a fan
Bless
of
him.
a certain audience.
He's trying to
a certain
hide it, bless
influencer
him.
will, like pick and maybe you know I use this word lightly, but like attack things that you know if someone else did that isn't you know online showing what they do every day, they wouldn't care, like you said. But then I think there is the flip side where influencers and people with an audience can abuse their power definitely
Massively.
and try and get away with things, you know, the other way around that most people wouldn't get away with.
I get you. I
And,
understand.
I still think that's okay for people to pick up on that
Yeah.
and almost call them out for that. But here's the thing that is important. I think it's always about how you say it, not what you say it. Like if you're gonna call someone out, one, make sure what you're saying is relevant. Don't tell them to just go die because that
And
just
make sure
has
it's
nothing
true.
to do.
You become a bit of a bully
Make sure
then,
it's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, like, and I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, that is just a flippant things said on the internet apparently these days, which is kind of mad to me.
Man, a lot of death threats.
I don't get
thrown
why
around
people
online.
Yeah, don't just
send
say
death
something
threats.
obnoxious. Make sure what you're saying is relevant, and just just say it in the right way. Don't let them get away with it if they're abusing what their power, or they're trying to get away with something that they shouldn't necessarily be getting away with. Call them out, but it's how you do it.
Yeah, that just goes back to the responsibility thing, and there's so many examples that fit in this same vein for influencers, right? So I'm just gonna like explain the stages. An influencer does something wrong, and then everyone watches, assesses whether or not that's going to be get big enough attention for them to then receive some sort of clout off it. And I think it works its way all the way down. Like, I think some other bigger influencers might want to voice it because they know they'll get the attention for it, and then smaller influencers, and then eventually like everyone has an opinion on it because they want to be involved in the clout of it. What we don't realise is no matter what that person did wrong at the top, they're only winning from that situation 90% of the time. Sometimes they're definitely losing. There are career enders out there.
Yeah.
But you're aiding most of those situations because you want to voice an opinion. There's a time and place, I think, to voice an opinion if you're looking out for the greater good.
100%.
That like right now with all the things going on in the world, everyone should be voicing their opinion. It's where everyone needs to come together to make big, significant change for everyone. But when it comes to an influencer doing something wrong or something little, in the grand scheme of things, like, I don't know, they like pissed on the sidewalk, like Justin Bieber did, and Chris Brown did, and some other people have done. Everyone's pissed in public. Don't care who you are. Everyone's done it.
Yeah.
Probably even had a shit in public as well. If as children, when you're a kid,
You sure
like,
have
your
you
mum and
done
dad
it
might
lately?
take you camping, so like, right, just go in the woods or whatever.
He's definitely done it lately.
Definitely to me. But I think everyone's pissed in public for sure.
Good go.
And by vilifying these people for doing that, you are in a way just giving bigger notoriety to the fact they pissed in public and making it more likely for other people to piss in public.
You definitely have.
Yeah, like no one else is going to care. They're just going to see it as like, yes, Justin Bieber does it as well. Everyone does it. Like, they're just going to be something that's admired in a twisted way. It's the way social media is and behaviour is online. So it's important that you respond. Like, if you're seeing this go on, you can have an opinion. Just keep it there. Keep it on social media. Fuel the fire.
Like, literally just dude, that's not cool. Like, that's all it needs. Like, I know you might not think that's much, but if 100 people go to you, bro, that's not cool. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Or nothing.
Or literally nothing, or just I don't really want to see you pissing on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Like that's enough. You don't have to be like, you're the worst person ever, go die, I hope you rot in hell, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, like, we're not saying it's okay to do, but there's like a way of going about
I guess
things.
it's natural,
But I'm not
isn't it,
saying
though?
you
It's
just have
natural
to always be like, dude, that's not cool. Depends how serious the situation is, Like, I'm not saying let people run free with it, but there's a way to deal with things, and I think sometimes an influencer does things, and there's people on this side that just look for like they're actively looking for that person to slip up in the most minor ways so that they can attack it.
Yeah, and
but then at the same time, there's the opposite, bro. There's people that like influencers that will mess up big time. Like, do something inexcusable. I'm not gonna bring any up, but let's be real, there's a few, right? Like, they will do something inexcusable, and there will still be people that will just like be blind to that and be like, no, they're right, they're great.
It's true, and it is that there
and
is
I think
something
then, as a fan, you have a responsibility to call that person out.
Definitely, yeah.
I think that's some advice I'd give.
I agree. There's definitely a time to hold people accountable, but just bear in mind the consequences of doing so. Like, you are actually aiding them in some way, because unless it is those exceptional circumstances, sometimes there are serious things that happen, like pissing in public. In a way,
why is it this
something you
topic?
shouldn't
Why
do.
this topic? Why not anything
But yeah,
else?
you're drawing attention to it.
Like,
You're making people talk about it more. And really, the better thing to do is not acknowledge it. Then that person is less likely to do those things because they know they're not going to get any notoriety for it. People should be getting notoriety for doing great things and good things. That is how the world should work. It never will. That's never how it will be. There'll always be propaganda. There'll always be depressing news stories. That's just life. It's going to be that way for a very long time. In a few centuries, it might be slightly different. Another podcast. But I think right now there's always going to be shit, and the more as an audience we fuel that fire and we participate in that process, we just end up backwardsly helping the negative cause most of the
You
time.
pay more attention
Like, I
to
do think it's most of
negative
the
and
time.
then positive
There are
in this world,
exceptions
let's be
where
honest.
people need to talk about something.
Okay, what about this angle, right? I want to talk about this, or touch on it at least a little bit. What about, I think it's important not to rely too much on influencers or certain
100%.
type, or certain individual channel or certain form of content too much. When you rely on it, because at the end of the day, not everyone is going to do what they want to do forever, right? It's like when, you know, a band finishes, like One Direction breaking up broke some people's hearts, man. But like,
They were going to break up.
And some people were so heartbroken by it because they relied on it. And I think it's important to aid these things in helping you feel better in day to day if it does help you, but don't rely on it. Because once those sources cut away, I think that's an important bit of advice to give to fans. Like, find a few things that you like. Do you know what I mean? Because once that person finishes, say you love this certain influencer, right? And like one day they just decide to stop making.
Sorry, that better not happen because I love you.
It's crazy, but honestly, like a lot of people that would affect mentally, like quite bad. Like they'd suffer. They've not got that one thing. It's like TV shows. People have it with TV shows as well, right? You know, when someone's like really into a series, and then it finishes, and like, they just want more. Like, they don't want it to end.
Finished.
I think it's
For
important not to rely on something like one individual entity. For
that was my life.
Definitely, you have to love yourself the same way we love ourselves.
Yeah,
I don't love
like
myself.
because you guys should love yourselves first before you love anyone
I love
else.
more people than I love
because
myself.
I know that this is an escape
problem.
for a lot of people, which is fine. Like that's cool, but I think it's important to try and encourage people not to rely on it and to find, you know, other forms of happiness when you rely on it. This applies to anything in life as well, not just like things on the internet.
Yeah, I get you.
Influence.
I think it's super important, man, and it definitely isn't. It's definitely never going to sink in. I think for a lot of people, but like as a fan or as someone who might, we're all fans, man, or someone. How far you take that admiration and how much it suppresses the rest of your life or other things you like doing can have a serious negative consequence. Like people should, the escapism side is the good bit, but love yourself and focus on yourself. Influencers are at their best if they are entertaining and it's fair and ethical and they're entertaining, or they are providing value and motivation. Like that's where you should be as an influencer, as successful. You should be exploiting situations. Ephemeral content's bollocks. You should be in the zone of like aiding like a greater good sort of cause.
Yeah.
And fans, that's where fans should take that and put it to action in their own lives. That's what like the beacons. Well, influencers are like the beacons of certain things.
Yes.
And I think that's where it's great. They can reach a wider
100%.
audience
I
and get a message
agree
out
with
and create a community and a culture that I think is amazing. That's what we love, isn't it? About building like a culture and like a belief system where it's like we believe in ourselves and like we wanna be that generation that like helps make a big difference for all the right reasons. Like there's so many generations that fucked it and like being selfish. Like we really want to try and be that generation that
so I was reading this hat.
That did some good and always looked out for others as well. Sounds like pretty simple.
It is.
I think that is overlooked massively. A lot of people looking out for themselves these days.
They overlook that.
Yeah.
And they overlook the fact that, you know, everything has a ripple on effect. Like you're gonna have you create a ripple effect whether you like it or not. So if you're gonna create one, you know, make it a positive one.
You will learn from your mistakes.
And everyone's gonna make their mistakes. How you vilify your influencer is something I think you should always double check. Always double check it, because you might, a lot of the time you'll be helping them by voicing an opinion. Have an opinion, keep it to yourself, or tell your friends. But it's the second you put it online and you tag that person in it, or it's a part of the hashtag or that trend, it can actually do a lot more damage than good. So just try and learn when and like why the influencer is putting that piece of content out, how it's gotten out. That's another key thing. Is that them, you know, are they playing some clever stunt to try and use negative press as a good way of building a brand? And it happens all the time. All the time. Governments do it. It's a massive thing that happens. But it can be pretty dangerous, I think. And the responsibility is then on the audience, I think. I don't think it's on the influencer. There's always going to be bad influencers and good influencers.
Yeah, don't use like if you're part of someone's audience, don't use that as a way to spread some more negativity, you know.
Yeah, man.
If I could give any advice, try and learn something from the people you're a fan of. Man, being a fan changed my life because I was a fan of people so much that I wanted to like do the things they did like as well as they did. Like if you're a fan of someone or you know you're part of someone's audience and you admire what they do and it's something you'd like to do, you know, use being a fan of someone, use the emotional investment that you have in that whatever it is, that brand.
So true.
To
Like,
improve
joking,
yourself,
but,
like,
like,
use
road
it,
trip,
take that on board. Like,
like,
so don't just.
Helped me a lot with my confidence.
That's what I would give as advice. Anyway, don't just use it as mere entertainment. If it's entertainment, cool. But
No, man, that's a really nice
yeah.
nugget. I like proper appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, like,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's true. The biggest, like, the best an influencer can be
100%.
is when they
Like,
motivate
I'm
some
more
sort of change
confident and
in
more
people and in
happy
yourself.
and
And like,
everything.
yeah, I can look back at times and be like, if it wasn't for that person doing those things that I
Because
watched,
they told me
I
that I
would've
can
made a
be
certain
who I
choice.
want to be.
yeah.
Which changed my
Whenever I
life.
wanna be.
But they would never realise.
So maybe
And like the same way
song.
people have said that to us that we changed their lives, we can never appreciate that because we weren't there with them watching it get changed. And it's always very hard to be like, I accept that I changed your life. Like it will never compute with like logic, but you have to kind of accept in some way that your actions can do that to people. And I think the more we try and improve ourselves as people and like behave to people that are ethical and nice and cultured and all these great things, you know, we want to try and get across those best traits and work on them so that the audience watching, generation watching, grows up with that same kind of mentality. And it's so doable. Like it just sounds so simple, like cliche or whatever, or wet, whatever people want to call it. Those are the things.
You're wet, bro.
Yeah, bro. But those things really matter. Like those are the things that really matter. They're the things that I care about.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that pretty much everyone in this house cares about. So why not make that part of your brand? Like your brand doesn't have to be this like cutthroat, like it's perfect, it's like here and it does this and it moves in mysterious ways. It should just be,
honestly,
I'm a decent human being, man, and I do some cool shit, here it is.
Yeah.
Like that's where it should be. How far you want to take that's up to you, but it should be cocooned in that I'm a decent human being and I'm trying to spread some underlying good message.
Right. You say it, you
Definitely
say it.
Key, I think. Something, it reverts back to the last video, doesn't it? Something that influencers need to bear in mind.
Yeah, make sure what you're sending out's good, and I think, you know.
And make sure you're
Same
posting
equally
content
for
that
fans.
people will enjoy. Do you know
Yeah, you want to be on the internet, make sure you're a presence of good. If you don't want to be a presence of good, you just want to be a troll all the time, we just want to be this and that, you might not even mean some of the stuff you say. It doesn't matter, someone's going to take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And there's a responsibility you have for that, and I have and you have for that. We're all responsible, because we've all got a phone.
Yeah. And like I said, trust me, if you're going to be a fan of something, you know, fan is short for fanatic. If you're going to be fanatic about anything, a subject, whatever it is, you know, use that for the good. Like I said, like being a fan changed my life. Like being a fan of other singers that were like my kind of age, seeing that they could do it. Like it was only because I was a fan of them that I was like, yeah, I'll give that a go. Why not?
Yeah, man.
Like granted, I wasn't so like ballsy about it at first, but like it was being a fan of them that like gave me the idea to try it myself. Like, you know, you can do that. It doesn't matter what. Like, it doesn't just have to be a singer. Like, it could be anyone. You could be a fan of someone that runs a certain business.
Someone who has
like,
a certain job.
Use it to inspire you. Like, I know yourself, right? Like, you're into business and stuff, right? Would you say like you're like a fan of like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and like some of their principles?
Massively. I think it goes beyond being a fan. I think
Super fan.
Borderline mentors.
I think I look to those people in like books and knowledge and things like that. I look to those things as a tool to like condition myself, and that's like, it goes beyond being a fan. You are looking at those people, what they're doing, and using them to make their experiences and decisions to make real change in yourself. And it's not, there's other people as well, not even just great. I do love business and building businesses and managing things like this and exciting. But I love the creativity as well. So I'm just as inspired by some great musicians out there who maybe didn't have a good business sense, but had a great craft. And those things trade off. Like, you need to have a great craft in business to be successful. The same way you need to have with your great craft has some sort of business ethic has to complement it.
Yeah. And
all these things help each other. And I think by looking to people for motivation and not for ephemeral like laughter all the time. Ephemeral laughter is fun. Everyone loves a bit of that. I do that all the time. But there's also times like this where you want to try and help out. And this is probably one of the first times we've directly spoken to the fan base. and said said anything that we think will actually be helpful to you, not just in a short-term sense, but in a hopefully if you guys can take some of this and
yes,
just test it out and see what happens,
Yeah,
then maybe there's some change there.
Stuff.
Yeah, huge. I think last thing as well before we close off.
Ugh.
What do you think on
Don't get me
drama?
started with
Like,
drama.
do you think sometimes a fan base and people
Well,
in
drama
general
is kind of
want
interesting.
drama?
Do you know what I
They
mean?
want the drama from the influencer. They want to be able
It
to pick
is
at them.
quite
Therefore,
interesting.
the picking at them process will always survive and thrive.
Yeah, because I think for some people, being part of a fandom, they almost feel like they're in their own.
That's so
soap
true,
opera,
though.
Like their own episode of EastEnders.
You kind of
know what
control
I mean?
the opera house, yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of control, not control the storyline, but like, if you can fish out the storylines that you want to make headlines and put them on drama accounts, like you know.
You know what you're doing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. People, I think people do want the drama and actually facilitate
I get
it
it,
in
to be
like a
fair,
way.
it makes sense, like it creates good drama. Unfortunately, sometimes influencers are on the negative receiving end of that, but like, it makes sense, like, you know. They create, like,
It is kind
it's
of.
almost like being part of the entertainment, like, that's kind of cool that they can do that, right, in a kind of twisted way, like, they can see another brand, like someone else's brand, and create entertainment within that person's fandom without them even doing anything. Like, they can just spark the drama.
It's true, man. And that's a big reason as to why me and you ever got any success. Is because our fans were the best ones at delivering content. They just you guys would keep sharing stuff and spreading stuff around, and
The
like
Roadie
sometimes
fan was
some
the
really
best
beautiful
fandom,
things as
let's
well.
be
Some
honest.
like great pieces of work, and I'm just like, regardless of that having our face on it, that's a beautiful thing they've made. They've made something really good. That deserves its own kind of notoriety. It just happens to be our face that's used in the content, so it helps us as well.
Yeah.
And that kind of community,
100%,
yeah, you're right,
it
is really powerful, man.
Yes, you should.
It's cool. We should definitely get some fans live calls on the show.
Yeah,
on the show.
On the show.
What the fuck has happened?
Hello, welcome to 4 Hours and Skyscraper.
The show.
You're live. How are you doing?
Fucking hell. But no, we should get some people on there. Some fans of the podcast, I think.
Yeah, that'd
like,
be cool.
On an Instagram live or something,
should.
and just see what you guys think of certain things. Would be interesting. But I hope you've been useful, man.
I would
Yeah,
take
I hope
all
you've
your
taken
advice
on,
now.
you know, even
Thank
if
you.
it's like the smallest little bit, or
Yeah.
all of it you found useful.
Maybe suggest some things in the comments as well, like things that you think within this arena of like controversy with influencers and things like that.
Yes.
Is there anything you want us to speak on, like deliberately, like that someone else has done? Is there something that's happened that you would want our opinion on?
Is there something we missed that
I
we
got
didn't
stuff
touch
I
on?
want
Yeah,
to ask.
yeah. I think there's a lot in this place that we
There's
could talk about
questions
as
that
an
I
us and
want
you
to
sort
know
of thing.
from you guys.
I think we
So
can all
hit me up
communicate
and
in a cool
message
way
me
on
because I got loads
this
of
kind of
questions
topic.
to ask.
So maybe we should try and do that.
Subscribe.
Guys, thank
Like.
you. Subscribe.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, we look forward to the next one, bro. We're gonna try and get some others in it as well.
Thanks. Of course he's singing.
Just a thumbs up, please.
Yeah, man. Thumb it.
You right, Ryan? Are you okay? Do you know what? I actually do love them boys. Them boys like are so like nice and cute and understanding. It's like ever since you know what they split up, them two have been so more open. And do you know what? I love that in like influencers. I love them being open. I know sometimes it can be private information that they don't want people to know, but having like being what's the word being open is so much better. It like gives fans so much more of an idea of who you are, and yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Ryan and Sunny, if you're watching this, please like DM me because I've got loads of questions to ask you about certain stuff. Yeah. Hope you all have a good weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.